You know, it's crazy when you're looking forward to something for so long and then that thing finally happens, or you finally get that thing and that thing literally lives up to expectations and is as good as you were hoping. I mean, it's one of those rare things that barely ever happens, but in the case of the Air Jordan 1 85 Georgetowns, this shoe is just as good as I was hoping. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm reviewing the upcoming, well, I guess it's not really upcoming because it already released overseas, but new to me, Air Jordan 1 85 Georgetowns. Also, I'm giving a pair of these away, so make sure to stay tuned. It's even better in person. I was so stoked on this shoe, and it's just better in hand than I could have ever guessed. This is crazy. But before we dive into why this shoe is just so awesome, let's first talk about its upcoming US release date. So the Air Jordan 1 85 Georgetown officially releases in the United States on April 2nd, 2022 for a retail price of $200. And I know that seems like a lot of money for an Air Jordan 1, at least when it comes to retail pricing, but this shoe isn't technically a standard Air Jordan 1 OG. It's a different version of the shoe. It's the 85 variant of the sneaker, and because of that, it features a different cut and also actually more premium feeling leather. I still think that's too much to pay for a mass-produced sneaker, but hey, that's my own personal opinion. Or if you don't want to buy a pair of these for yourself, you can always enter the giveaway for these. More information on that at the end of the video and also in the description below. So the Air Jordan 1 85 Georgetown is one of the few Air Jordan 1 85 releases. Back in, I believe, 2020, right before the pandemic started, Jordan Brand started to release new versions of the Air Jordan 1s, the Air Jordan 1 85s. And what makes these 85 versions of the Air Jordan 1 so special is that these versions are as true to the original releases as we've ever really had. I mean, if you compare the 2015 Chicagos to the 2022 Air Jordan 1 85 Georgetowns, you can actually start to see the difference between the shoes. It is subtle, but it is there. And that's because over the years since the Air Jordan 1 first released back in 1985, the shoe has gone through a lot of very subtle iterations. And as time has gone on, almost 40 years at this point, the shoe has some noticeable differences that came in the way of, I guess, refinement. And while I love the newer cut of the Air Jordan 1s, I have no problem with it at all. I definitely prefer the original cut of these newer Air Jordan 1 85s. But we'll get more into the details about how the 85 version differs from some of the other Air Jordan 1s in a little bit. Let's first talk about the box. And actually, it's kind of funny because the Air Jordan 1 85 box is one of the ways that the shoe differs from the standard Air Jordan 1s. I mean, okay, it's really not that big of a difference. The colors are inverted on the box. Usually where there's black, you've got red, and where there's red, there's black, but that seems to be pretty much it. And the official colorway of this particular release is College Navy Summit White, which actually makes a lot of sense because the College Navy used on this shoe is inspired by the Georgetown Hoyas. Oh, and if you guys were wondering how I got my pair early, I grabbed my pair on GOAT. And if you guys would like to grab a pair from GOAT or just check the resale prices, I've made sure to leave an affiliate link in the top of the description below. But with the box out of the way, let's dive right back into the sneakers. And might I say that the Air Jordan 1 Georgetowns are probably my most anticipated or second most anticipated sneaker of the entire year. I was looking forward to the shoe so much, and the fact that I can finally hold a pair in my hand and own a pair just makes me so happy, which is crazy. I don't know why sneakers make me so happy, but they do, and they probably make you happy too, which is one of the reasons you're probably watching this channel. But jumping into the sneaker itself, around the toe of the sneaker on the mudguard, you've got this really dark navy, or college navy as they officially call it. And I've got to say, even though I have no affiliation or reason to like Georgetown, I do really love this color. This shade of blue is really, really clean and incredibly wearable. Also, a detail that you might notice on this shoe is that the leather panels on this sneaker are significantly thicker than standard Air Jordan 1s. And the reason for that is that this shoe, again, is based off of the original shoe, which had much thicker leather, which is actually a great thing for performance basketball because this shoe offers a lot more support than a standard Jordan 1, which has much thinner leather and is actually a lot softer. Now, one of the misconceptions that I've heard about the Air Jordan 1 85s is that the leather used on this shoe sucks. And that's purely because people are feeling the shoe and thinking that the stiffer leather is worse quality. And it's crazy to me how brands have tricked us into thinking that soft, tumbled leather is better quality leather. In most cases, the actual feel of the leather, at least on Jordan sneakers, has no bearing or indication of the quality of the sneaker. In fact, I actually have a custom-made black leather backpack which is made of some of the most incredible and honestly expensive leather I've ever owned of any kind, and this leather is actually really stiff. And you just have to understand that the leather used on mass-produced sneakers and just mass-produced products as a whole is never going to be the best quality leather. In fact, in a lot of cases, they're trying to use the cheapest leather possible that has the feeling of nicer leather. And a lot of times it's just totally garbage leather. In fact, most Air Jordan sneakers that have come out in the last 20 years are all made with crap leather. And that's not to say that they're bad shoes, it's not to say that the materials that they're using make the sneakers cheap crap, but at the same time you can't think of them as these designer products because they're not. And when it comes to this shoe actually uses thicker leather, which means more material and means it's probably a more expensive shoe overall for them to produce. Also, I should say that tumbled leather is not a good indicator of quality either, because tumbled leather is a post-process. It's something that they actually do to the leather after it's taken off of the cow. It's actually rolled onto the leather and it's not the natural finish of the leather. So just because something is tumbled leather doesn't mean that it's better leather, it just means that they did an extra process to give it that texture. And so when you see something like this that has flat, smooth leather, that doesn't mean it's bad, it just means that it's a different kind of process. All of that said though, the design intent behind this shoe is to create a shoe as close to the original as possible, and because of that, they're using thicker leathers like the original shoe used, they're using smooth leathers like the original shoe used, and the shape of each one of these panels is slightly different than a standard Air Jordan 1 because it's closer to the original cut of the original shoe. So yes, this leather is stiffer than a standard pair of Air Jordan 1s, and yes, you will probably need to break the shoe in, but it definitely gets more comfortable the more that you wear it. And it actually smells a lot nicer than a standard pair of Jordan 1s. There's a lot less glue smell on this shoe. It's a lot more leather smell. It smells like a DSW actually, and I'm into it. I really like it. But tangent aside, continuing back on the sneaker, in the center of the toe you've got this really nice neutral gray colored leather. Again, pretty stiff, but again, really not a bad thing at all. Moving back on the sneaker, around the eye stay of the sneaker, you've got more of this dark navy color, which again, I really love. And then weaving through these lace punch outs, you've got these flat gray laces. Now these gray laces are the laces that came pre-started in the shoe, and they're definitely my favorite out of the two laces that come with the sneaker. However, if you decide to switch them out, Jordan Brand does give you a set of dark navy laces that actually match really nicely with the blue leather on the shoe. Now I actually did see someone post on Instagram a picture where they used like a sail colored lace that matched really well with the tongue. That was by far my favorite look on the shoe. I think it looks incredible. I unfortunately don't have any extra sail laces sitting around, so I can't do that for myself. But if I find a set of sail colored laces that fit an Air Jordan 1 somewhere, like maybe Amazon, I'll probably grab them because I think that sail color was fire. Speaking of the sail color, underneath the laces you've got this light cream or sail colored tongue, and the reason for that isn't because the nylon used on the tongue is a sail color. It's actually because they use a white nylon that's very, very thin, and the foam that they used inside the tongue is a nice sort of dark yellow color. And that color is sort of diffused through the white nylon and makes the shoe have this very nice, subtle, clean, sail colored tongue, which I absolutely love. At the top of the tongue, you've got your Nike Air tag that comes in gray with the Nike Air embroidered in blue. One of the details that I love about these 85 releases is that they actually included the little tech spec manual that you had on all the original Air Jordan 1 releases. It's just a nice little piece of history. It shows you all the tech going on in the midsole, even though it's not that interesting of tech, it's still cool to see, and it really reminds you, if you came up in that era, of what you got inside the box. Now, I was born in '92, I missed out on the original 85 Jordan 1s, but for me, as a fan of Jordan Brand, it's still really cool to see that history. And then moving inside the sneaker, you've got this matching gray sock liner, which is really nicely padded around the ankle, and on the top of the sock liner, on the medial side of the foot, you actually have the style code sort of printed or pressed into the material. It's very similar to what they did on the 2016 Bred 1s. At least I think it's the style code. I know the first number is the size of the shoe, and then the other numbers, I'm assuming it's the style code, but I'm not 100% sure. Regardless, it's a nice touch. I love when Jordan Brand sort of hides little details like that. The insole of the shoe comes in white with the Nike Air branding printed on the heel in black, and another detail that I really love about this shoe is the sample sticker that's stuck on top of the insole. So this sticker was designed to look just like an original sample sticker on the original Air Jordan 1s. You've got the model number, you've got the code, you've got the patent number, you've got the mold, you've got the size, you've got the color, navy, gray, and white, and then the production date of March 29th, 82. And for me, it's just little details like this that add so much to releases like this. They add a little bit of history, a little bit of interest. If you don't know what this is, it still looks cool. I think it's awesome. I think it's a really nice detail for Jordan Brand to add. They didn't have to add it. I feel like it's one of those unnecessary things, but at the same time, it really makes the shoe feel more special. Before I forget, the insole included in this shoe is much thicker than a standard Air Jordan 1 insole, just like the original Air Jordan 1 85s. It actually adds a decent amount of comfort to the shoe. Of course, you've already got the Air unit in the heel, but this little bit of extra padding just really makes the shoe feel a lot better underfoot than a standard pair of Jordan 1s, at least for me. As far as sizing and fit, the Air Jordan 1 85 Georgetowns definitely fit true to size, at least in my opinion. I had no problem with this shoe whatsoever. I love the fit of this sneaker. Again, like I was saying earlier, because the leather is a little bit stiffer, you will have to wear this shoe in a bit before it gets as comfortable as it can possibly get. It honestly is a little bit stiff in the beginning, but the more that you wear it, the better it feels. That's one thing I never usually have a complaint about when it comes to Jordan Brand or Nike. They always usually get their sizing on point. I never really have to go up half a size or down half a size. Unlike some other brands, which I always have to go at least up half a size or a whole size or down half size or down a whole size. It just, you never know with some of the other brands. I'm not going to name them by name, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Continuing back in the shoe to the midfoot, you get more of that pretty stiff feeling leather that comes in this neutral gray color. Right in the center of the midfoot panel, you've got another dark navy detail with this Nike swoosh that also comes in that same thickness and cut of leather. And then moving farther back in the shoe, you get more of that Georgetown dark navy leather around the bottom of the heel. And then on the top portion of the heel, you've got another dark navy panel with the Air Jordan Wings logo debossed into the shoe and painted in this really nice glossy gray. Underneath that panel, you've got some more neutral gray colored leather around the top of the ankle that actually spills down towards the midfoot of the shoe. And interestingly enough, there's not really any contrast between these two leather details where there usually is contrast. As you can see on the Chicago ones, you've got white and black, and even on the neutral gray ones, you've got some light gray suede contrasting the white leather on the midfoot. So it's kind of interesting to see Jordan Brand making a colorway that uses the same shade of leather on both of these panels, but I'm into it. I think it's a nice touch. And this is also the first public release of an Air Jordan 1 High that features the Georgetown colorway. We've had Georgetown mids, we've had Georgetown PEs, but we've never had a public release OG High feature this colorway, and I'm really glad they did it on the 85 version of the shoe because I feel like it fits so well, and it ties in really nicely with that original Hoya sample from back in the 80s. I mean, seriously, this is just such a clean look, and because it's done in grays and blues, even if you're not a Hoyas fan or a Georgetown fan, this colorway is just stupid easy to rock. It just goes with everything. I love it. I'm really into this shoe. Then moving down on the shoe, you get to this bright white midsole, which is actually different on the Air Jordan 85s versus the more recent Air Jordan 1 releases. Now the differences are minor, but they definitely are there. The first difference is the actual shape of the midsole. It has a little bit more of a bump towards the midfoot of the shoe, which I actually really like. The newer ones are more of a straight line down the side. And then another detail that a lot of people have probably already noticed is the texture on the midsole. It's actually a lot more pronounced, it's a lot more out there, it looks a lot more rough to the touch, and that's something you don't really find on the newer Air Jordan 1s. The texture is still there, but it's a lot harder to see and it's a lot more subtle. And when you see the shoes next to each other, you can really notice the difference in the shape of the midsole and also the difference in texture. Then finally moving to the bottom of the shoe, you've got this dark navy colored rubber outsole. So overall, I love the Air Jordan 185 Georgetown. I think this shoe is absolutely incredible. You guys know me, I'm a huge Air Jordan 1 fan, and I think I say that phrase, you guys know me, I'm a huge Air Jordan 1 fan all the time, but it's because I love this shoe so much. This is the original Jordan. This is Jordan's first signature sneaker, and it embodies a lot of the stylings of other sneakers that released during this time. And I've said it a million times, but leather 80s basketball sneakers are my favorite sneaker styles ever. I think they're incredible. I love the New Balance 550s, I love the Adidas Forms, I love the Air Jordan 1s, and I love Nike Dunks. And all of those shoes feature very similar styling, but in my opinion, the Air Jordan 1 is just the best of the bunch. This sneaker is the perfect shoe in my opinion, and I think Jordan Brand going back to their roots with the original 85 cut of this shoe is one of the best things that they've done in a really long time, and I absolutely love it. I love all of the different colorways of the Air Jordan 1 85s, but for me personally, so far, this is my favorite. I can't say that's always going to be true. I think the Chicago's releasing later this year will probably trump this shoe, but as of right now, I think this shoe is it for me. I think this shoe is sneaker of the year in my opinion. That probably will change when the Chicago's come out or maybe some other release that we don't know about, but for me, this is the shoe that I was most excited about coming into this year, and it did not disappoint. So entering this giveaway is incredibly easy. There's only one thing that you have to do, and that's sign up for the Apothecary email on apothecary.com, which is my sock brand. The winner of the Air Jordan 1 85 Georgetowns will be randomly selected from our email list, so if you guys want to enter for a chance to win one of these guys for yourself in your size, make sure to sign up for Apothecary's email through the link in the top of the description below. Entries will only be valid if you use a valid email address, because that's how we're going to get a hold of you if you actually win the giveaway, and if you've already signed up for Apothecary's emails, you're already entered. That's all there is to it. All the information that you need to enter the giveaway is linked in the top of the description, so make sure to check it out if you want a pair of these in your size for yourself. But that pretty much wraps up the review for today. Now I would love to know your thoughts on the Air Jordan 1 85 Georgetowns and whether this is a shoe that you want or whether it's a shoe that you could care less about. So make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.